Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. So as you can tell from the title, today we're going to be talking about another part of basic training, more specifically the CBRN, the chemical, biological, radiological and nuclear training, as well as doing the initial exposure, which we'll get to in good time. So before we actually get into any of the bits, there's going to be two parts that we need to cover first. Firstly, this will be most likely the first part you do of your IFPT training. For me, that was our third week, but obviously first week of IFPT, if that makes sense. Okay, which is obviously the biggest part of basic training. And obviously be conducted by the regiment and the regiment corporals and staff and such. So on day one, so on the Monday, you'll be going to stores, you'll be getting your GSR, okay? And, you know, your GSR is also known as a respirator, not a gas mask, but it is a gas mask, but don't call it gas mask, it's a respirator. And you'll be learning how to assemble it and put it together. They'll teach you there and then. And I believe you spend most of the time at their stores, I believe, on a Monday, and then Tuesday's when it really starts. So basically from Tuesday to Friday, you'll be doing a lot of theory, okay? Or you might do like the second half of Monday. I can't remember. Let's just go off Tuesday. You might do a little bit on Monday. We're not going to do tons because it's still half a day. So from Tuesday to Friday, you'll be doing a lot of theory and you'll be doing a lot of practical, okay? So to give you some form of context, what is the theory like? So the theory is really just in itself, you know, if you've ever done anything that has a practical element and a theory element, it's a similar thing to that. So it's really the theoretical side of the practical, if that makes sense. So it talks about what equipment you can have, if there was a nuclear blast, you know, what sort of range it has and sort of all this other stuff and just sort of things like that, some general knowledge. And then when it actually comes to, you know, the practical element is basically putting the theory into practice, if that makes sense. Not fully, because obviously you don't have all the kit there because you're just doing the basic stuff of it. You're not going to have all these injections and pills that you can get on the side if you were to get, so if you had a nerve agent, for example, attack you, you have these certain equipment you can use to obviously prevent that and cure yourself from it, or whatever it is, or not, maybe not cure, but you know, whatever it does to your body, that's what it's dedicated to. But that's more the theory, and that obviously won't be the practical, if that makes sense. But obviously some parts of the theory that is related to practical. So the practical is really going to be leading up to the 7 drills you're going to be assessed on, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And just to give you a bit of context of what these sort of drills are, all they are is safety drills. So for example, one of them is not actually the whole drill, but it's a part of a drill, is the sort of initial one, which is where you have to get your GSR on within like 9 seconds. Obviously, it's not timed, but you've just got to be shown you're putting it on as fast as possible. It's just to simulate if you was on patrol, you were in a base or whatnot, and all of a sudden a nerve agent entered, or a gas attack has entered, or you know, whatever the CBRN side of it attack happens, you can obviously make yourself safe as quick as possible and put all the relevant equipment on that you need. Okay, so following on actually from the sort of GSR, I forgot to mention, you will be wearing these sort of big like outfits, sort of like jackets and these waded trousers with the straps, gloves and boots and all the fun bits, and it's very uncomfortable and very hot, so just get ready for that. You know, it is what it is. So that's basically in a nutshell of what the week includes. The Friday on that week though, you will be initially exposed, which we'll get into just a bit, but I just want to quickly touch on the exam side of it first. So the exams, if it's the same as me, obviously times can change depending on when you go in. The exams for me was the following week on the Monday, maybe Tuesday, but I'm pretty sure it's the Monday. So you have that entire week and the weekend to prepare for it. So it will be enough time, I promise you. You might think, hold on, like 4 days, like it's not enough. It will be enough to the amount of training you do. I felt the same even on the Friday of initial exposure, but you have those weekend as well. So as long as you use that weekend effectively, get some revision in, get some training, just an hour. You don't have to do the whole day. You've got the whole day to, you know, to yourself, unless you've been mucking around and you won't. So yeah, just get some training in. So yeah, basically you have 7 drills and you will be assessed on it. Okay, well firstly you'll be doing a theory exam. So the theory exam consists of maybe like 10 to 20 questions. I can't actually remember, maybe 5 questions. I don't know how many questions there are, but some amount of questions. And it is quite straightforward as long as you just remember the content or whatever your revision technique. For me, I like being asked questions and then obviously getting it wrong and learning why I got it wrong and how it relates to questions. That's my way of revising. Some people is, you know, literally just taking notes and reading off them, whatever your revision technique is. I did take notes, but note taking for me ain't the greatest thing. I like questions, I like doing things. So that's my way of learning. Just do whatever you need to do. You'll sit that, and if you pass it, great, you can move on to your practical. If you fail it, which I did, believe it or not, on the first time, because I was silly and didn't really revise at all. I thought I just understood it, you know, got sort of humbled very quickly on that. Obviously revised it, took in the second time, I believe maybe on the day after. I can't actually remember. I think it was the day after or a little bit. I think it was the day after, actually, so maybe it was on the Tuesday or something. Again, it's been almost a year, I can't remember it, so either you guys can forgive me. But you're able to do a second chance nonetheless. Now, okay, so the practical, how are your exams? So you have 7 drills, and, you know, like I've already said, they are basically safety drills, guys, okay? They're to simulate, you know, if they were in this hazardous environment, how you can do this, how you can do that. You know, if you need to do a certain thing, how you do. I'm not going to talk about the drills extensively because I've been here forever. And also, I don't want to ruin the experience, but just as I said previously about getting that GSR on, it just gives you an idea of what you could expect. Okay, but you'll learn all this. Don't worry about it too much. Okay, then once you do that, you pass CBRN. Moving on to the next bit, which is shooting. So initial exposure. Moving on to the part that most people probably want to know what it's like. So without actually just diving straight into it, I think the best way to actually talk about this is to talk about my own experience and how it actually happens. Let's go on a little bit of a story trip, shall we? So Friday morning, we were set off into 2 groups, Group 1 and Group 2. I was in Group 2, which means that they were going in after lunch. Group 1 was going in straight away. I particularly wanted to go in straight away. I wanted to go and done so then I could enjoy lunch. I had lunch and then I thought I was going to throw up because, you know, I'll get to that in a bit. So anyway, we had lunch. We head to basically this sort of outhouse. We'll say outhouse. It's much bigger. It's an outside building of the main. You have the big building, which is the main one, and you have a little outbuilding specifically designed for this. So basically, you'll be outside, and then your reg staff will call you in. I believe it's like maybe 2 courses in one room, and there's 2 rooms. So there's 4 courses in total. It might be 1 course. It depends on how to do it. I think everyone's different. But let's just say theoretically, there's 2 courses. So as 8 to a course for us, there was anyway. So they'll get you in, they make sure you get all your stuff on, especially your GSR on first. We didn't have our hoods up. I know in YouTube videos, like old ones, they used to have the hoods up. Sorry, we had ours down. So they have their hoods up, we had ours down. So I don't know if that'd be the same for you, but it doesn't really matter. They'll get you to go into like the initial porch area, and they'll just give a brief. And the brief will somewhat go like this. So say, once we go in there, I want you to walk clockwise or anti-clockwise around the room, and I just want you to keep doing it until I tell you to stop. And then once I tell you to stop, I want you guys to line up in front of the respective staff member, and then we'll basically conduct the initial exposure. So he was like, does everyone understand? Anyone have any questions? So, like, yes or no. If you have any questions, yes. If you don't, then no. No one had any questions. So he opened door to the main chamber. As soon as he opened the door, there was just like smoke like leaking out. Okay, because obviously these CS gas is burnt via like these little pills or something like that, little tablets. And then anyway, the sort of smoke sort of resembles, let's just explain it better. Like, do you know when you sort of like blow out a candle and it has like little smoke that goes up? It looks something like that. But as soon as I opened the door, I could smell this like really burning sensation. But it wasn't sensation. I didn't feel it, but I could smell the burning. And I thought for a moment that maybe my kit ain't working, but I remembered if it wasn't working, then, you know, I'll be hitting the effects of CS gas. So it's just, you know, this is it doing its job. It's getting rid of it. So we just kept walking around the room. No one had any issues. Proves the equipment's working. You know, all the filters are working. Everything's working as it's supposed to. And then he told us to stop. He said, face in. So everyone turned in, facing the member, and he goes, right, I want you lot standing here. I want you lot standing there. So I was on the furthest left. Okay, and I was the second person to go. So I had one person in front of me, and then it was the staff member. And then the staff member goes, right, I want you to, or the reg corporal, sorry, I want you to listen to my commands at all time, do what I tell you to do, and then, you know, you should be fine. Not fine. You don't get fine, but we'll explain that in just a sec. So anyway, so he will say, or she will say, you know, I want you to check your GSR off, and I want you to repeat after me. So, you know, this guy literally in front of me took his GSR off, and within half a second he was gone. He was just coughing all over the place. It was just snot and crap coming out of his mouth. I was just like, what have I got myself into? I was quite nervous. I thought, now I'm shitting myself. So I thought, oh, crap, like, I'm going to pass out. I was like, I'm going to be far worse than him. So basically, he couldn't get his words out. The corporal kept moving, so he kept pushing him back, and like I say, repeat it, and he just couldn't get the words out. So in the end, the corporal opened the door, grabbed the guy by the collar, and just threw him out. Okay, so to give you a bit of an idea, guys, putting a pause in the story a little bit, you don't have to say what he tells you to say. Okay, it's just, you know, it's just to show you've been exposed, so you can prove that the equipment works. Now you've felt the effects of CS, you can trust the equipment more, and it's also because the regs find it funny. Like that, I know that's a part of the reason that's why they do it. It's because obviously you need to trust the equipment, you need to know it works and the effects of what it can do. But they do have a good laugh about it, I promise you. So anyway, I was up next. Okay, I was bricking it, so he's done the same to me. Take your GS off and repeat after me. So I took it off. I was going big breath. I breathed it all in. I could feel like a bit of a, oh, bless me. I could feel like this sort of like heavy, sort of like gas feeling. Like, you know when you like spray like deodorant or whatnot, and sometimes you breathe it in, it felt like that a little bit. And yeah, but nothing really was happening. My eyes were fine, and I was just looking at him, and he went, repeat after me. I just said your rank, last name, and service numbers. I said AR, and I got to like the first three letters of my last name, and I was just gone. I was coughing like crazily. My eyes weren't that bad, strangely enough. I know CS gas usually links to like really running water eyes. Your eyes were just red. Mine was just coughing. There was so much coughing. There weren't like any like splue or anything coming out, any saliva. I was just coughing. And I was like sort of like rocking a little bit, but it weren't too bad. And I was just cough. And I kept like, for some reason, like putting my mouth over my hand. I don't know why. I don't know if my lips are burning or something, but I just remember doing it. And the guy, like, he was like, say it, and I was trying to get out. And I just couldn't get out. So anyway, he grabbed me by the flipping hood and just literally just threw me outside. And then I was, then basically get outside, and you know, it's all done. That's it. It's over and done with. And I can promise you, the regiment staff will be mocking how you are, because that's just what they're like. They're having a laugh, and it is quite funny, but you know, it is what it is. And you know, they tell you to walk around this tree basically, and you have your arms out, sort of outwards, and yeah. So basically, and then that's basically it. And then you take the effects sort of last like 5 to 10 minutes afterwards. And I actually found the effects were worse outside, strangely enough. I don't know if it's the air's hit it. My eyes then started to water a little bit and sort of puff up just ever so slightly. And I generally thought I was going to throw up on me. I did heave a couple of times. I didn't bring anything up, so you know, winning in that regard. And then once it's done, you'll take your filters out of your GSR, so the two side ones and the one in the centre, and you'll dunk it, getting all the CS off. And then when you go back to blocks, they'll ask you to wash off or to air out your sort of the kit, and then that's basically it. And then the following week, you'll do your exams. So that's basically it, guys. To give you a rundown of what CBR is, hopefully I've explained it as clearly as possible within 12 minutes. So if you have any questions, please let me know. But yeah, it's mainly just pay attention to the theory, and you know, write yourself some questions. There are some revision tools that were there when I was going through, and you guys will have access to them, hopefully if it's still around. And you know, just give yourself some practice. The initial exposure, you can't prepare for it. Just go in, sort of jump in the deep end sort of thing, and just give it time. Some people say it's the worst experience of their life, and they said they burnt their eyes, throat. You know, it was horrible. There was snot pouring out everywhere. Everyone's different. Some people have a resilience to it, and they barely had anything. There was someone in there who got all the way to the end and asked some questions before he had a little bit of a hit to it, and then he was like, "Okay, you've had enough," and just threw him out. So people have some resilience to it, different tolerance levels. But yeah, just enjoy it. It is an interesting experience. You won't experience this out in the civvy world unless you'll somehow get to go in there and pay for that experience. So I don't know why you would pay for that experience, or if you've been in riots and stuff and the police have had enough and they thought, flip it, let's just tear gas this, CS gas these people. Now I know what it's actually like. So yeah, go in there, enjoy it. It's an experience, yeah, just to see what it's like. But that's gonna be the end of the video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one, whenever that is. Take care. Bye bye.